This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded March 17th, 2014. Episode 189, with guest Marcus Shappy, Ketch, Kenophobia.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
And I'm Marcus Shappy from Microview.
Welcome, Marcus.
And Little Bird Electronics. And how many companies you got these days, Marcus?
Too many.
And soon to be one more, right?
And soon to be one more.
Yeah.
So we have Geek Ammo, which is doing the Microview, of course. I'm a part owner of Ninja Blocks, which did the Ninja Block, of course, and Little Bird Electronics, which sells open source hardware in Australia.
Fellow Aussie here in Sydney.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, all right.
Is this the
rare.
first co-located, or not? It's not co-located. He's not in your office or anything.
No,
but is this the
first
first one who's actually
from Sydney?
from Australia? Yeah. Okay.
Not. Is it the first one from Australia? It could be.
No,
I
not
can't
from.
remember.
No, because Philip's from Australia, but
Right.
he's been living in Silicon Valley for a long time. But I think the first one actually recording from Australia.
There you go.
I think you guys are the only two people in Australia that actually do electronics, right? I mean, that
Right,
must be
yeah,
it.
because it's because there's nothing here, right? It all died out in the 70s.
Well, I just sell entirely to Dave.
So, Marcus, tell us all about your latest product, which hasn't actually come out yet. It's super.
Wait, can we start from the back, or should we start at the front?
I don't know.
Yeah, start.
All right, start at the back.
Go back in time.
All right.
Okay. So, Marcus, how did you get started? Oh, good question, I asked myself.
Oh, I like this. This is easy. I'm gonna go get another beer.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. Let's go.
I should have got it here. Okay, how did I get started? So it all started with my lecturer at Sydney University. I was doing a design course at the time, and he said, Marcus, we're using the Arduino this semester. They're very hard to buy in Australia. In fact, nobody was selling them in Australia. You're entrepreneurial. You should sell them online. And just wanting to make the lecturer happy and hopefully get good grades, I called up these Italians who said, oh, wow, that's amazing. We've been trying to break into Australia. I think back in, 2004, 2005. And, they were ever so happy to have somebody import Arduinos into Australia. So that one product went from one and snowballed to 2,000 different products on Little Bird Electronics.
2,000.
And 10,000.
10,000. And you stock them all.
10,000 products? Like SKUs? Like SKUs?
10,000 SKUs. So
Wow.
it was all rather an accident.
Can you explain SKU for those who don't run shopping carts and big monolithic mail order houses?
Yeah, SKU is just a stock keeping unit, and they're part numbers or manufacturer part numbers more often than not. And one by one, we approached SparkFun, Pololu, DF Robots, Studio, IT'd, Freetronics, a mob in Australia called JCar and Electors, and slowly added their products to our site. I actually must give most of the credit to my wife. When I was running the business by myself, we were only doing a few $100s a day, and now she's really driving the business forward into a real business.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Also, I want to pause real quick, and we have had John from Freetronics on, and I think he was in Australia at the time.
He could have been. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he'll beat us up if we don't say as much.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, John.
That's a ton of units. That's 10,000 SKUs in your store.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that someone would buy it from Little Bird than just go to like sparkfun.com and buy it there? Is it shipping, or what's the reason there?
Shipping in Australia sucks.
It does.
If you order, a cable from SparkFun or, one of the vendors in the US, it's going to cost you at least $20 in shipping to get good shipping with tracking.
For a $2 cable.
For a $2 cable. It doesn't work out. So, sometimes I don't I look at my business and I think, we're not really providing value on the electronics front. We're providing value in consolidating shipping for people. So if I want to buy a part, say I've got a project and I want to buy a part that is coming from Seed Studio in China, maybe an Arduino part from Italy, and then another part from the US. With one order, I can get that all in one order instead of paying shipping from all these different suppliers and, crossing my fingers that the parts will actually arrive in Australia.
Huh. So does that mean that you have all this stuff in stock at your business?
I like to think that we keep a local cache in Australia. So think from programming terms. So we try to do everything just in time where possible. We have, worked out how to really get the shipping gods to do what we want them to do. And pretty much if you place an order on a Friday, you will get the parts in from overseas on the Monday, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
And then my wife, she used to run logistics for all the different... it's a company called Gate Gourmet that supplies all the food for Qantas and Delta. And she would have to work out how to get the food in the right location for all the different planes on the various routes.
Yeah,
and so
and it has to be just in time as well because they cook, cook, in quote marks, that food, and it's got to, it can't sit around for a week.
Yeah, at least what we sell isn't that perishable.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I lick one of the boards that I buy from Little Birds, it won't taste like 2-week-old chicken.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, I guess to summarize Little Bird, it's all my wife. I just do customer support, which is just Googling for people and reading data sheets.
Yeah, right, because so you sent them that link to here's how you Google it. What is that website,
It's
let me
been
Google
so
that for you.
tempting.
Yeah.
Let me Google that for you.com, yeah.
Do you reckon I can get away with that? It's sort of like, it's just on the edge of acceptable.
I know. Oh,
some people would be impressed by the little scripting where it actually fills it in, with the search term for you, but then
it's a bit insulting, isn't it?
It's just shy of giving somebody the finger. It's
exactly.
Here's sir what you wanted, and here's the bird.
A free Little Bird with every order.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ka-ching. And the amazing thing, Chris may not know this, is you still run it from your house.
Yes.
Wow.
So we've gone through different
How do you survive? A mail order company. I've run my mail order company from my house for 20 years, but hey, I'm not shipping. I don't have 10,000 bloody line items.
Yeah. Well, we have a whole level of our house. We have one of these houses that are on a slope, and a whole level is devoted to Little Bird.
Wow.
You just, it's insane. We started changing our basement so we could actually keep stock in there. We have, laid down plastic and done all this crazy stuff just to find more storage in
the storage space.
We're going to have to get a proper warehouse one day.
One day when you get 20,000 light items.
Couldn't you charge 10 cents more per person and then be like, okay, well, if everybody buys one product, then we're probably good on the rent for the month,
It's tough because right now we're selling what I would consider commodity products. And we're doing a business where anybody can just go and start. Listeners, don't do this. Anybody can just start this in their underwear with a laptop and say, hey, I can sell your stuff, and then start selling it on eBay. And so we're competing against that. And of course, price is becomes a consideration. That's why I'm so keen about, making our own products, because you're not beholden to suppliers' prices. You're not beholden to, the economics of selling commodity products.
I've always thought I've always said it's a mugs game, really, being in the mail order business, just
well, like nice as in reshipping.
But because you have to operate with low margins, right? As he said, it's a low margin industry, and you have to differentiate yourself somehow in order to compete and survive, really, and it's tough in today's market.
Yeah. Service, brand name, that kind of thing.
Support. I kind of got into it by mistake. We're digging our way out of things by making products. So, I'm extremely proud about that.
Yeah, it's like It's like a fire under your ass, right? I mean, the faster I get this project done, the faster I can stop selling other people's stuff.
I'm trying to help Marcus here, you see, by telling everyone it's a mug's game. Don't get into it.
Gotcha.
I gotcha. There's no margin in it.
Touching nose.
You work your ass off.
You don't want to do this. You get stuck at home. You can't take holidays. It's terrible. You don't want to do this. You should go out and make products that can be sold on Little Bird and other resellers like that.
Right.
We need more SKUs.
We do. All the time.
So how the hell did you have time to do all this other stuff then? I mean, you helped found Ninja Blocks, right?
Yep. So, yeah. Out of Little Bird, we did Ninja Blocks, and that came about from me Googling on the internet one day, doing my Google AdWords, and they have this tool which shows you the number of local queries for a search term. And I remember checking AVR, which is, the chip used. You guys know what AVR is. Everybody on the podcast knows what an AVR is. And the amount of queries were just, so dismal in Australia that I thought, oh, man, this is crap. Why am I doing this? I need to build an Arduino or something like that for, the rest of us, all my friends who are, oh, Marcus, you sell electronics. I've got this idea. I want to do blah, blah, blah. It's like, if I can do something where I can make ordinary consumers be able to do electronics, I think I'll be onto a winner. And that's where Ninja Blocks
Because you didn't think Arduino was for ordinary humans?
Well, Arduino always had the impediments of needing to know a little bit of embedded programming, electronics, and if you wanted to connect anything to the web, you needed to know networking and web services as well. So I wanted to build an entire top-to-bottom system that would, remove all these impediments. And the model that I sort of latched onto was if this, then that, but for hardware. So if this, then that is a website, ifttt.com, and it allows you to automate web services. So you can set it up so it automatically looks at your tweets and then cross-posts those to your, say, Facebook account. And
that's how we post our Reddit links, actually. When someone posts a link to Reddit, our subreddit, it automatically tweets it out after a little while.
Yep. And it just is so easy to use. And I thought, wouldn't that be great for hardware? If motion is detected, take a photo, send a tweet. But in there sort of lies the problem. IFTTT is, very simplistic because it's, really just piping one thing to another web service. But if you're doing a more complex or even just a simple thing like if motion is detected, take a photo and send a tweet, or actually a better example would be at night, if motion is detected, turn on the lights. Well, you have to make the rule a little bit more complex than that. You need to say, well, is it at night? Turn on the lights. How long do you want me to turn the lights on? When do you want me to turn them off? So that model didn't really work, and we sort of turned into a, buzzwordy Internet of Things platform.
Right.
Oh no.
And that's cool, and there's a place for this kind of thing. But what I was really interested in was actually building Internet of Things products rather than running a software platform for the Internet of Things.
Right. Yep.
So you're saying that Ninja Blocks is basically just kind of like a router for people interaction?
Yeah, so it really shifted away from helping hobbyists that didn't have the electronics and programming skills to becoming more the center of your home automation and your connected things life. And, it's cool, and hopefully it will become a billion-dollar company and do all the things that you're meant to do in Silicon Valley. But yeah, it just wasn't the core concept anymore.
Right.
Well, and it was built on the BeagleBone, right?
So yeah, we actually put inside the Ninja Block a white BeagleBone back in the days where that was the only acceptable.
The $90 BeagleBone, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And because I was lazy and because I wanted to be safe, I used a Arduino on top of that to do all our I/O. I just didn't think that the BeagleBone, its I/O back then was stable. It was fairly new for the BeagleBone back then. Of course, we didn't have anything like the Raspberry Pi. I've since come to learn that the BeagleBone is 1,000 times more stable than a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Yes.
So, I've got one of those Apple aluminum keyboards, or aluminium for the Australians, and whenever you plug that into a Raspberry Pi, the thing browns out and resets itself.
Oh, brilliant.
And so, Raspberry Pi, they won the marketing war. Their hardware's pretty crap, but, everybody loves them. Whereas I don't think we give BeagleBone enough props.
VHS versus Beta, is it?
Yeah, I would say so.
That's an interesting. Yeah, that's a good comparison, Dave.
Right. So you ended up doing a Kickstarter for this.
Yeah. So the original Ninja Block
before Australians could run Kickstarters.
Yes. So
tell us.
Sneaky.
I'm going through that process again. So yeah, back in the day, we couldn't do Kickstarters in Australia, and we were actually part of a program called StartMate, which is a business incubator. And, I said to my wife when doing the Ninja Block, hey, I want to become part of this thing called StartMate. I think if we just get this tiny little bit of investment that they give us, because it's not just me doing the project, it will force me to actually finish the project, because I'm just looking at my desk now and I can see all these different projects that I've started and not actually finished. So that was the motivation for going into StartMate. They helped us become a US Delaware company so we could raise investment in the US. And
so this is an American company, is it? This is an American
yep, Ninja Blocks is a American Inc. with an Australian subsidiary.
No, but this StartMate you're talking about.
StartMate is Australian.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So it's all about saying we can build great technology companies in Australia.
Right.
The internet is...
By incorporating in the US.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a bit of irony there. But the general thesis is that the internet has made geography or issues that were associated with that geography less, and now it's more of a level playing field, and
except when you want to ship stuff.
Except for when you want to ship stuff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, everybody in the States puts stuff in Delaware too, so it's just kind of solidifying the fact that Delaware is the place to go to incorporate worldwide.
Yeah, so
they're in Ireland, I think.
The biggest investor in the US said to me, once we're going through the investment docs, "Oh, you're an Australian company. I would have invested in that." It's like, great. After all the pain of trying to pretend to be American. And, jumping through all the hoops, getting friends to lend their social security numbers, becoming treasurers of the company, silent partner, everything that you needed to do. It's like, right, you would have invested.
Are you allowed to be saying that? Am I going to have to come back and edit this kind of crap? Because if you want to, I don't want to have to edit, man.
No, it's all good. We're legal. Oh, Ninja Blocks is legal. How many
legally
listeners?
in one state, yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
I don't think we have any listeners that could, sue you, so that's fine.
I doubt that many Irish people that
yeah, you're right.
listening. Ninja Blocks is great, and now we're working on our... I really, took the core team who did all the hardware behind the Ninja Blocks and got them behind the microview. So what's the microview, Marcus? I'm glad you asked.
Dude, this is so easy. I love this.
I know, this is like the Curiosity Show. Sorry, only Australian audiences will get that reference.
That's okay. I'll have to pimp the show more out in Australia. So yeah,
don't worry, we'll bring it to the States and pretend that we came up with it, like we do with a lot of UK shows. The Office.
Try House of Cards. I just went back and watched the UK version, or like the 1970s or late 1960s version of House of Cards.
I didn't even know it was.
Maybe
I didn't know
1980s even. But it was a long time ago. I'm only a young person. And it's like, they just copied half the lines from the UK version to the US version. I was like, watching Yeah, don't ask me how I actually watch House of Cards in Australia. That's a whole other story that we don't want to go down. But yeah.
Talking about things you get in trouble for.
Yes. So yeah, Microview. That started as... Sorry, go on.
Microview is that like how Dave does like a little Mew symbol or...
No, it's the word micro.
Micro?
Okay.
As
Yeah,
in
it's
Microsoft?
the word micro. Yeah, Mew is overused nowadays.
Yep. We use that internally.
Tell me
But, everything used to be UV, but we changed that. And so that started as a joke, or a practical joke on me. My electrical engineer, JP, sent me this photoshopped image of a chip with an embedded display. And on this Photoshop document, it said, world's smallest Arduino with built-in OLED display, chip form factor. And I had assumed that he was just trolling Alibaba again and that he found this cool new product for us to sell on Littlebird. And I was like, that's awesome. Where can we buy it from? We'll order 50 yen and, we'll put them up on Littlebird. And, he was a bit coy about it for a little while and then said, well, I actually Photoshopped this up. I got you, haha. And, that's actually not such a bad idea.
I want one.
It's like the taco copter. When that thing came out, everyone's like, oh, I want that. And then, no, it's not real. Sorry.
Yeah. So we actually made it real. So we took an Arduino Uno, shrunk it down to the size of a chip.
Which is not hard because it basically is just a chip, pretty much.
It is just a chip. There's a few things you need to get in there. And then
the Arduino ultimately comes down to a chip. It is that's essentially what it is. The rest is just like a serial interface kind of, UART or power supply kind of thing. It's
so you need to get all your passives in there, and we had to decide whether we wanted to put USB on board or not, and then we had to do all the passives for the OLED stuff. But he got it down to a chip. I guess our big limiting factor was that we also wanted to be able to build this ourselves.
Right.
And so we had to squeeze all that down and be able to do it on our cheap and cheerful Chinese pick-and-place machine.
Yeah, you've got one of those. How are they? You're talking the $2,000 one or $4,000?
Yeah, the TMA, I should know this by now, pick and place. It's about $2,000.
But by the time you import it to Australia, it's like another $1,000, isn't it, or something?
So we'll call it.
Is this the same one that Dangerous Prototype has?
Yes, it is. Yeah, same one.
Okay.
It's a desktop pick and place.
All mechanical, no optics or any fancy stuff like that. It's it works a treat. So we built
okay.
The simplest thing that we could, which was logic level converters on it. And, they came out well. We can't really complain. And, it was after that we really realized that perhaps we shouldn't be building commodity hardware that the Chinese can do really cheaply.
Yeah, exactly.
We should be doing something special. And let's do that with the Microview. He designed it down. We got the designers of the Ninja Block enclosures to do a beautiful chip enclosure. That was after going to every, chip vendor we could find and asking them, how do you encapsulate your ICs? And we got some contacts and we spoke to these contacts and they all said, no, it's not going to work if you put an OLED display in there. There's no way that we can sort of mask out a space for your OLED to shine through. So what we ended up doing is designing a injection molded enclosure that goes over our tiny little Arduino. So in the end, it does look like this tiny little almost. Gem of a chip. Yeah. So I think we achieved our goal there. So beyond the hardware, JP, and I have to give all the credit to JP here, he designed an amazing library that makes it super trivial to show widgets and graphs and text and render sprites on the OLED display. So
that's the same thing with any project like this. It's nothing to do with the hardware. The hardware is just an OLED hooked onto an AVR microcontroller, right, in a novel form factor. It's all about the the educational material that actually goes with that. All the tutorials, the libraries, making sure they're easy to use, so you can drive the OLED display with one line of code, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's the secret sauce behind it. Otherwise, it's just a chip with an OLED display.
Yeah, but if you're a marketer like me, it's the Arduino shrunk down to the size of a chip.
Right, yes.
So yeah, we did a lot of work on the libraries, and what we've also done is we've built a course that guides people on either their iPad or their Microsoft Surface, or even in Chrome, how to build 11 different circuits, and it's a step-by-step.
Yep. Plug
your microview into your breadboard, plug in your LDR, your photosensor, into these pins, and this is how you get a nice live reading on your display. And then we do more complex things like servos and relays and transistors.
I think the thing that always, this kind of stuff with like the intro course type stuff, we see other stuff like that. There's books about the same kind of thing, but it's like, it's so easy for me to forget, like, every single day there's new people showing up and wanting to learn this stuff, right? It's like, it's never ending. It'll never end, right? And the market will never end for that kind of thing, because it's an accessible platform and people are interested in that kind of thing. And I think I can kind of hear people saying, I can hear our listeners already saying, well, this already exists, right? But it doesn't matter. It's the fact that it exists in this form factor with this even more accessible interactive component to it. And I think that's actually really what the power is there.
Yeah, we showed it to university lecturers, school teachers, and they went nuts, right? They like the fact that it's breadboard compatible. You can just whack it in there. All the tutorials guide their students step by step. They can just sit back and have a coffee and watch the kids do their stuff.
Teachers love it if you write the material for them. They will buy anything that has the material already pre-written for them, so you can just give it to the students. Seriously, that's why Agilent sell their oscilloscopes to the education market, right? Because they have, these course books that go with it that explain how oscilloscopes work. So they just give those to the students, and bam, most of their work's done for them.
See, now I've always heard that it's tough to sell into, like, I guess it depends on the level too, but I've heard that it's tough to sell into the educational market. Is that true?
The educational market is a huge proportion of Little Bird's customer base. It just depends how far back you want to bend for them. So you have to do things like accept purchase orders and do things like that. But what I found is that if you're providing products that they can't get elsewhere, they come to you. So my game plan for Microview is just showing this to as many teachers and university professors as possible, and just saying, and here's the materials, go at it. And I think they'll just order it. Just being able to see what their Arduino is thinking, just totally changes the ball game.
Cool. Now the case, can we talk about the case? Because the one that's shown on the Kickstarter campaign, which goes live when? Have they actually approved it yet?
Any second. Hopefully by the time this has aired.
Yep, it should have just started. The case in that is a hand-polished CNC prototype. Yeah,
so I got this email from Kickstarter this morning, and they're like, we want to see your prototypes. And, a bit of back and forth. That is our prototype. And our industrial designers, did such a great job seeing down this enclosure from a solid piece of plastic and then polishing the buggery out of it. So it looks like this beautiful...
They didn't believe it.
Yeah, they didn't believe it. This is photoshopped, yeah.
This is a render, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I had to go back and add more photos of the Ninja Block without it. Not the Ninja Block. The Microview without its case.
Keep it straight.
And, and here's our original whiteboard drawings of it. But yeah, they just didn't believe that it was a prototype.
Because we can't blame them, right? Because that is so prevalent these days. Yeah, everyone just does the render and tries to get away with it.
So we didn't do any renders. It's the real thing. It's on my finger. Funny story is that we...
How do we know that's your finger? We can't tell.
I was actually looking for somebody with bigger fingers. How do you know that's my finger? Yeah. So we powered it in that photo that you'll see by visiting microview.io, of course, by running 2 tiny little wires up and underneath the microview itself, and taping this wire to the back of my finger and running it all down my arm to a battery pack. And this thing took all day just to get the right angle where we could
get that one photo.
To get that one photo, but it is the money shot.
So much so that they didn't believe it. I love it.
No,
all that
it just
effort,
looks like. Yeah. Again, that goes to JP. I'm working with a team of perfectionists here, and it sometimes takes a long while to do things, but the product of their efforts is insane.
And I've physically seen it, by the way, folks. I've physically handled it. Yes, it is real. And
we can see Dave's ugly mug on the videos. So.
Yeah, I'm in the video down the bottom of the page there somewhere. And goodness. Now, this isn't your first battle with cases. Can we go back to the Ninja blocks for a minute? Because can you explain to people why 3D printing your cases in production volume is not a good idea?
It's a good idea if no one buys it. Or if one person buys it.
Or 10 people buy it,
yeah.
Tell us the story.
Marcus learned a lot of things doing the Ninja blocks, and one of them is don't assume anything. And so Little Bird has a lot of smart customers, and they tend to be at the forefront of things. And one of, back then the forefront was, 3D printing. It's like, So I went over and I looked at one of our customers doing 3D printing, and I was thinking, okay, that's not too bad. Everything he did seemed to turn out okay, and I looked at all the photos on his blog. I was like, actually, the quality's not that bad. We could probably run with this, and there'd be sort of a bit of geek cred in
3D printing your own case, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and we can make the case open source, and everybody will be happy, and there'll be rainbows. No. No. So we got.
I shouldn't laugh.
So I was speaking to this guy, and it's like, back then it was don't buy the MakerBot. It's made out of wood and wood flexes, and if you want accuracy, you should go and buy the up printer.
Yep.
And we bought 3 or 4 of them, and we started we started 3D printing all these cases, and we didn't have to.
How many cases did you have to print?
It was hundreds, because it wasn't like in the hundreds, if not just under 1,000. Because not only did we promise to 3D print the Ninja Blocks case, but also all the accessories. So there was a light sensor, a temperature and humidity sensor, a distance sensor, a motion sensor, and then we did these RF433 editions, and it was just nuts. Never again. I never want to see a 3D printer. No.
I think I recall us making fun of you on the show when that was happening.
Yeah,
I can't say for sure, but I think we did.
I do recall that. Yep.
If not, it was me and Dave before we started hit the record button for sure.
You're right.
As any good leader, I delegated this to my wife. And Australia is a pretty dry place, and we started off 3D printing, all the enclosures on our balcony because my wife was several months pregnant and couldn't stand the smell of the 3D printer.
Oh, no.
And then it was, as if the drought broke. It was raining for 3 or 4 weeks, just solidly heavy rain. Not just spitting, but, solid rain. Our gutters were overflowing. It was insane. And, she had all the windows open. 3D print. She doesn't want me to talk about 3D printers anymore.
I'm surprised you're still married.
It's a push. And she now thinks that she's the perfect candidate for a study on the effects that 3D printing or ABS plastic vapors have on children.
Children, right.
I'm pretty sure 10% of my son is, probably ABS now. So, yeah, not good.
Wow.
Oh, goodness.
So, yeah, we moved along, and for the second version of the Ninja Block, we did injection molding. And, that has its own issues, but, man, it beats 3D printing pads down.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. Cost alone, I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, like, the spools of the... I'm not going to go on about it anymore. It's just... Don't
He's
even
getting upset,
consider.
Dave. We should stop. This is like
All right.
PTSD.
All right.
He's like having flashbacks. He's getting the sweats. He's gonna.
He's going to go postal any minute.
I was gonna say he's gonna start shooting up the place, but it's Australia, so I figured
It's Australia,
no, probably
yeah,
not.
can't really get hold of a gun. He'll
Start
3D
throwing
print a
wallabies
gun.
at people. Yeah.
Yeah,
3D print one.
my
and go
one
on a
shot.
rampage.
yeah, before it blows up in your face.
and wait an hour to print out another.
Yeah. So Ninja Blocks is still going on though. Are you still part of it?
So I'm not working on Ninja Blocks on a day-to-day basis. I still have a huge vested interest that they do well. I hear from the media
Translation
that
stock.
Which
Yes,
may or may
yes.
not amount to anything.
So yes, it's I view it as my ticket in a raffle, and either to blow up and become a huge company, and I'll be inviting you guys over to my yacht.
Awesome.
Or,
all right.
Yep.
Multiple helipads and all that. Or, nothing will come from it. It's just one of these big bet
Who
things.
is they? Is it like a venture capital firm that's got their mitts into it now, or what?
So who's behind Ninja these days? So right now Ninja Blocks has only done one proper round. Yeah, that's what they call it.
Round of
And-
funding, yep.
Round of funding, and that was for $1 million. And pretty much after that, they've been self-sufficient to selling Ninja Blocks, which has
Right.
been pretty good.
That's not how it's supposed to
way to-
work. You're supposed to get
No,
more
that
money,
is the
more
way.
money until you implode, or you're sold by Google, or you're sold to Google, and then implode.
Yes. Yes.
But it's okay. Then they've made their money. So it's
Yeah. And,
what actually
so-
make product and add a profit and be self-sustaining and have negative debt and no debt. That's not how it's done in Silicon Valley.
No, in Silicon Valley, it's all about growth and exponential crazy rocket growth. And I'm sure that's something that they want to do. They're just getting all their ducks in a row before they go and do another round. So
Right.
I hear from reading the internets that their technology is being put into internet ISPs modems to allow them to be able to do home automation and providing a nice platform for hackers to go and do stuff with. So
Right, interesting.
expect that in the near future.
So when you sell to Google for $3.4 billion, because I can only assume they'll pay more than Nest, are you going to also store your 10,000 SKUs on your yacht then, or how's that going to work? You going to finally move those out of the basement
I
and onto
think
the
we
yacht,
might-
or
We might be able to afford a warehouse by then.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Well, you could just buy a barge and drag it behind the yacht.
Yeah. Well, that's what Google does, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They got the Google
Fits out
barges.
well,
Yeah.
So I clicked over to ninjablocks.com and there's a new one on there, and so there's like a sphere or something. That's the modem you're talking about, like the fancy looking.
So that's actually just another, I would say that's the third iteration of the Ninja Block. Instead of it's less blocky and more sphering. Actually, I've got to give it more credit than that. They've redesigned the thing from the ground up. They're doing lots of techie things on the back end to make how the whole system works a whole lot better. They're putting in better radios. They're doing BLE. They're doing Zigbee. They're collaborating with some really great people to make the Ninja Sphere a reality. And they did a Kickstarter. So all this happened after I left Ninja Blocks. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
No longer just a place of self-employment, but a real business. That's what you want.
Yeah.
My whole life I've been, I'm doing a business, but then I, really come to the sad fact that no, it's 11 p.m. and I'm packing orders.
Yeah.
This is self-employment.
Oh, goodness. And now, look, you're limiting your success here with the MicroView to 5,000 units. Explain.
So it's not about creating full scarcity. It's about lowering risk. So we want to be able to do, I want to say, the first Kickstarter that ships on time. Because
right, yeah, because they're pretty rare.
Yeah, like we didn't do a good job with the first go at the Ninja Blocks in terms of shipping on time. And I think by putting a constraint on 5,000 units, it will help us and our manufacturer. And who's our manufacturer? Oh, that's another good question. You ask.
Yes.
That's
I was just about to ask that. Yes,
that's SparkFun Electronics, and that will really help them be able to get everything out on time.
So, walk us through that product. How did you hook that up then? I mean, was it just because of your previous relationship with them, or?
Yep.
I mean, SparkFun has we talked to the SparkFun team, obviously, in episode whatever, and they were telling us about their new facility, and they're growing like gangbusters as well. But
SparkFun is insane. It's what they do from, I can't believe this can be done inside America in 2014. No offense. It's amazing. Like, I would imagine a company like Apple, doing something like this, but, to do all this manufacturing in the US, to do all the shipping from the US and, growing the business at the rate that they have, it's almost as if they were a venture-funded business, but no, it's just a bootstrapped business. It's just insanely amazing. And, what's more is they're not just doing it in a market by themselves. There's other people like Adafruit doing the exact same thing. They're both going to get pissed off with me for saying that, but they're both doing complementary things in a finite market. It's
I think
quite
they've
amazing.
heard of one another. I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah. So and at the same time, all these other companies are just knocking off what they do. So, from different regions. And so I was like, wow, you guys are doing a great job. So how did the SparkFun relationship sort of start? Through Little Bird Electronics, we've always sold Arduino. We saw them work on the Makey, which is another Kickstarter. And that project was essentially an Arduino with capacitive pads, and that allows beginners to do Arduino-like projects. So this little device would act like a HID device, human interface device. You'd plug it into your USB port, and as soon as you started touching the different pads, and it came with a set of alligator clips, as soon as you started connecting those to things and started touching stuff, it would do, key presses on your computer. And if you were feeling game and wanted to get more advanced, you could go and flip the thing around and use it in Arduino mode and use it as a fully fledged Arduino. And they shipped SparkFun on behalf of Makey made this product and shipped 11,000 units. And so I was like, they can probably do it. I've been through the process of fabricating my own hardware before. I've been through the process of picking and packing and shipping orders. Why don't we get some other bastard to do this? And we approached SparkFun and we said, look, here's our idea. We know you did the Makey. I know that you guys can do this. So
I've seen
what do you
do
think?
it.
I've seen you do it.
No lying, Nate.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like Nate on Skype, we love what you do. We think your products are pretty awesome, but, we sort of think of you guys like Mercedes-Benz, and we want to be the AMG to your Mercedes-Benz. That was literally my pitch to him. And, so you guys know about AMG. Okay, we're electronics guys.
No, I have no idea what that is.
Okay,
No, yeah.
So AMG was sort of like this aftermarket super uppers of Mercedes-Benz. So they would go and take a stock Mercedes-Benz back in the day, and they would soup it all up. They would change the brakes, make it turbocharged if it wasn't turbocharged. I know nothing about cars, I should also say. So I'm making up stuff as I go along here. They would add fenders and all crazy stuff to make the car go faster. And ultimately, Mercedes bought AMG, and now pretty much all the top of the line Mercedes-Benz can come with this AMG badge, which is this specially calibrated Mercedes-Benz with all this extra super cool stuff. I don't own a Mercedes-Benz. It's something that I hope to have one
Because
day.
your stock hasn't invested yet.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I drive a shitty Mazda, but
So say we all, man.
yeah. I think that sort of resonated with SparkFun, and we really love what you do, but I think we can take this up a notch. You guys build Arduinos, you build the Arduino Pro Mini. Imagine if it had an OLED display and we wrapped it up in a beautiful gem-like enclosure. Yeah.
He is a marketer, huh, Dave?
He is.
How did he sneak on here? I don't. It's a good thing you know electronics, Marcus, or else I tell you.
I'm actually stealing that line from. I used to work for like an Apple reseller, and the Apple BDM used to come around and describe all the different Apple products and showed us how we could sell them. And I remember he took out the first iPod Nano. And, it's a tiny little thing. And he kept on describing it. Look at this thing. It's like a gem. Hold it in your hand. It's like holding jewelry. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
So you're inspired to that. Okay, yeah.
So
Let's moving on, yeah.
Okay.
Let's wait for him to ask himself more questions, Dave.
Yeah,
this is good.
This is work for Apple. We should try this. That company works okay.
I suppose.
Anyway, SparkFun said yes.
SparkFun said yes. They said that they can ship X amount a day after X period of time, and that's sort of reflected in our Kickstarter tiers. And we're super excited to be working with them.
But not more than 5,000.
But not more than 5,000. So we want you guys to
Did
buy
they
it.
say that? Did they say that, or is that just your own number? Look, well, we don't want this to go too gangbusters because we won't be able to ship them all and everyone will have a sad face?
Well, you got to think, what is a Kickstarter for? It's for getting a project off the ground. And if we're selling more than 5,000, we're definitely getting the project off the ground and in a position where we can do more. It just reduces risk. It makes it a nice, simple number that everybody can work around. And it's really just for the kits. I don't want to have such a... He says, I don't have such a successful project that I'm affecting SparkFun's ability to build all their other cool products.
Right. Well, I'm sure they wouldn't let you affect them either. So that would mean that, there's all the big delays and everything else, and you've got to explain to your backers why...
You're second in line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, look, it feels right. It reduces risk, and I think everybody's going to be happy.
Except for those who missed out on the 5,000. I get emails every day. I missed out on your Kickstarter. Where can I buy it? Why can't I buy it now? It's like, oh, man.
Well, that seems like the difference, though, is that, so Marcus, you'll be able to continue, are you going to continue this relationship, you think? Then, I mean, like, so that they'll be able to fill stock after the fact? Or
Absolutely.
Are you gonna go...
So we will get SparkFun to continue manufacturing the Microview after the Kickstarter. Should we prove successful, and we'll go from there. They've got some.
So now logistical question. This is open source hardware.
Absolutely. There's no reason not to.
So obviously you have a relationship with SparkFun, but there's really no reason they couldn't just make a macro view, right? And just change this one letter,
right.
and make a different. I mean, like that is totally true, right?
Yeah, they could, but they're not dicks.
Well, they could, but then their name is mud, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
how the open source hardware industry works. It works on your reputation.
Yeah, but this is I totally agree with you, Dave. You're totally right, but this is a weird difference, I think, because it's not in the past it's been like, oh, well, we're manufacturing over here, you manufacture over there, you can't call it what we call it, but it in the case that it's like someone who's capable of manufacturing it on their own, having them manufacture, it's not good or bad. It's just different.
Someone else could do it, but it's not like SparkFun are going to go and do an about face and say, see you, we're not going to pay your commission anymore. We're going to make our own. That's not going to happen.
The thing to say is that we are doing other things to add value. So, we're giving away the designs, but look, if you want to go and get some dude to make your injection molds and build molds for your cloned Microview, go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
There's $4,000 to $8,000 in setting up those molds. They're going to take 3 to 4 iterations to get right.
Yep.
Unfortunately, these molds are a little bit more difficult than the microview because we've got optics involved. And we've got such a nice, clean, shiny surface. So
extra polish.
It's going to take them time. We've just become Arduino at Heart certified. So that's a program run by the Italians. Well, I should say they're now Swiss because they're, I guess, incorporated and running the businesses
the Delaware of Europe.
The Delaware of Europe. Yes.
If we could start referring to Switzerland as that would make me infinitely happy.
I don't know. I'm half Swiss. I might get my passport revoked.
You mean half Delawarean?
Yeah, half Delawarean. Yes.
Yeah. Let's go to Delaware.
Yes. Don't you hate a man that's neutral?
Delaware. At least we're not Switzerland.
Yeah. Without the banks and the cheese and the cooker clocks and the good skiing and the chocolate. Yeah.
Now, what is this thing? It's not run by the Arduino people. It's run by someone else.
It is. Arduino at Heart is a program by Arduino for products that have Arduino technologies at their core. I'm just quoting them now. So we first went out to them and, hey guys, we got this new Arduino. We really would like you guys to sell it as an Arduino, like an official Arduino, like you did with the Arduino Pro Mini, like you did with the Arduino Nano, like you did with the Arduino LilyPad. And we went so far as to actually printing Arduino logo on the underside of the microview. That's why if you go to our Kickstarter page, you'll never see
I've seen
the underside.
Yes, I've seen the underside. I've physically seen the underside, and there is an Arduino logo there.
Yep. And things just become more real to people when they can see it. And so I just did this nice video, sent it across to Arduino, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're simplifying our line. We're actually going to get rid of some of our own products over time, and we've got a very clear view of our roadmap. But we got this great program called, and I did my best, marketing impression, and it didn't work. And so we're now part of the Arduino at Heart program, which sort of suits us because we're a little bit more polished, like a finished product. And the Arduino at Home program is for that as well. So the idea is that you can have a rice cooker, but it can have an Arduino inside, and you can stamp this Arduino at Heart logo on the side of it and say, hey, all you hackers, you can go and hack your rice cooker now. And,
is this Arduino's way of tidying up the market, so to speak, in the use of their brand name? Because because they've got very strong trademarks on that thing, and they will slap anyone's face who tries to use their logo. Mm-hmm. But they use the word Arduino it's everywhere. Is this their way of sort of tidying up that to say, hey, look, it's it's based on our technology, but it's not ours. It's not an official one. Kind of.
I think they just don't want to become a Xerox or a Hoover. They don't want their name genericized, which is, I would argue, a little bit stupid right now. It's like,
I don't know. If you're successful, I don't think you can do it at all, to be honest. I mean, like, if you have something that people associate with something, it just, I don't care how many cease and desist letters you send out. If someone says, oh, that's like an Arduino, right? Or that's like whatever, it's going to be, people are just going to use it in everyday conversation because it's easy. We're lazy linguists.
Yeah, look,
right?
I can totally grok it. Like on one side of the coin, they don't want their boards to be cloned by, a chip factory in the deepest, darkest depths of China, and then be called Arduino. And then they've had in the past problems with people building fake Arduinos, even putting in the little stenciled Italy, the map of Italy on the side of the Arduino, and totally passing themselves off as these beautiful Italian-made products. And I totally understand that they don't want that stuff to happen, but at the same time, they should be trying to get their name out there in any possible way.
Yep.
And, let people embrace it. It's open hardware.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good idea though, what they're doing. So.
Yeah. So they've done the Arduino at heart. They've also made a special community logo that you can use if you ever want to use the Arduino logo. So, at least they're doing positive stuff like that.
Yeah.
They could just be dicks about it and send everybody cease and desists.
Right.
That's good that they're being proactive about it anyway, and realizing that, it's a lost cause trying to do that. Trying to be a dick is always a lost cause, pretty much, especially in the open source hardware industry. Your reputation can be, ruined in an instant if you start being a dick. That's just...
Well, I think too, it's something that's built on community, right? So a lot of, they always talk about that. It's very strong on community. And anything that's built on community, you have to kind of give up some part of it at some point, and it's I think they're doing well to kind of still maintain control and maintain loyalty and everything, and that's good. I think they're doing everything right.
It'll be very interesting to see how the whole Arduino ecosystem pans out over the next few years, as the focus is really shifting away from Arduino to embedded Linux. So we're finding that a lot of people are really far more interested in doing Raspberry Pi and Internet of Things. Rather than the Arduino right now. Like, I get people calling me up all the time, and unfortunately, my phone has sort of become, my mobile number has gotten out there, and it's a bit of a helpline right now. And
by the way, Dave's number is 987.
You want a 1-900 number? The paid one.
Far off.
And, they'll describe a project that they want to do with the Raspberry Pi, and it'd be like, no, you don't want to use any embedded Linux to pull off this project. Do you not understand? I've been through the Ninja blocks, and I've learnt my lessons when it comes to SD cards that die, having projects where you actually have to manage an operating system and a software stack. No, just give me a micro and give me a Wi-Fi module any day. It'll be interesting to see how they go. Actually, I should give a little bit of props to the Electronic Imp people. Do you know about those guys?
That's the one with the Wi-Fi. Is it a Wi-Fi module or Zigbee module? It's like a layer built on top of a wireless layer, right?
So their big thing is that they are a Wi-Fi module inside an SD card. It's like,
right,
okay, interesting, but they've actually gone out and made proper modules as well. And, because I was at Ninja Blocks, I was like, no, I can't possibly use somebody else's Internet of Things platform. And so, really, I've been really late to the game in just playing with their gear, and it actually rocks quite awesomely. It's extremely simple to get their Wi-Fi modules online, and then they have this nice thing where you can just hit up a URL. Like, every one of their Wi-Fi modules has a web-based URL that you can hit up, and then you can actuate code on its little microcontroller. It's very cool.
Cool.
That is cool. Yeah, I've never used one, but I've obviously seen a lot of their stuff online. I've just never had one in hand before.
Yeah, so all the stuff that you would have had to, simple Marcus would have done with embedded Linux, I just use this thing now. So yeah, I've been pretty happy.
Well, it seems like that's where a lot of the market opportunity is, right? It's like making things so you don't have to think about it, right? Like people will pay for that to like Dave says with Windows, right? Like Dave talks about Linux and Windows, and he said, I just want something that just works. Mm-hmm. And then people complain about, not using Windows. But I feel the same way, often as well. Sometimes you just want stuff that works. And because you want to get to the other stuff that's more interesting. You want to get down into the analog stuff or the FPGA stuff that's more interesting to you.
Why do you think people buy my microcurrent? It's just it's just an op amp and a resistor, for goodness sake, right? But they buy it because it's a finished product and it works.
Does it just work?
Exactly.
Well, that's good. That's good guidance for our listeners too. I think that's opportunity for stuff that just works. People want to. It's like the give a man a fish, and how's the saying go? It's like teach a man to fish, and you lose a wonderful capitalist opportunity, or something like that.
Right.
It is like that. I've got a friend who runs a electronics consultancy, and they're just going from strength to strength in Sydney because everybody just wants their widget online. And
Yep. All right.
Well, it's like how websites were for a long time too, right? It's not like people when the early days of HTML were struggling with doing head tags and body tags, but there was lots of people that wanted that kind of thing. It's probably we might be moving into the same kind of realm with the hardware side of things.
Yeah, look, the time to get into it is right now. Like, if I were to recommend the type of business that somebody should do right now, I would say an Internet of Things business because there's so much low-hanging fruit that hasn't been barely touched. We've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah. So when do you jump into the next project then, man? When are we going to hear about it?
Look, I wanted to do 4 Kickstarter projects, and I'm saying this quite seriously, a year, and I think I'm going to be lucky to do 2. I haven't got much buy-in from my team to do another Internet of Things platform.
I was going to ask you about your wife, actually.
I would say she's a big vocal opponent to that, because what you don't understand is that, well, what you guys do understand is it's just insane software in the cloud and software on the hardware, and guys, electronics is easy.
Yeah, I know.
It's like JP, our EE, first go, got everything right, like both with the Ninja blocks and the microview, and then we're just stuffing around with software ever since.
Yep.
So, yeah, props to the EEs out there.
So maybe the right field for people to go into is firmware, which I would actually hardly endorse. Is that there's always need for good firmware engineers.
I'm being asked all the time about firmware engineers. Marcus, do you know one?
Yep.
And what defines somebody as a firmware engineer versus somebody that just knows C and C++ and can toggle a few pins?
No, they have to understand trade-offs in terms of putting things into sleep mode. They have to be able to read data sheets to understand how the various modes of the micros work and how to trade off power versus frequency and all that sort of jazz, and measure that sort of stuff. I mean, if you're hired as a firmware engineer, you might need hardware skills as well, because you might be the
best
firmware
firmware engineers I've worked with have been very strong in hardware too. Either they used to be hardware people themselves and they just jumped over, or they throughout time they've just gathered skills. I mean, like Alicia who was on the show 2 weeks ago. I mean, she's very strong in hardware in addition to being very strong in firmware. So I think
you
that's,
at least need that hobby background where you know how to use a scope, you know how to read data sheets, you know how to solder, to build up to hack your prototype. You need to do that sort of stuff.
So how does someone...
You're willing to bang your head on the desk when you're debugging, right? Yeah.
How does somebody become a firmware engineer?
There's 2 ways. One is to start out as an electronics engineer, and then, you've got that electronics engineering background, then you get into firmware, because almost everyone who studies electrical engineer does C and C++. They learn coding, right? So they're all at least semi-capable, which might be more dangerous than not. But that's one way to do it. That's probably the traditional way it's always been done. The other way...
I agree with that, yeah.
...is to be, now we're seeing all these computer science graduates, right? They're just learning programming. They come over and they go, oh, no, Arduino, I can write code for that, because it's C. And... they can, and they're fantastic at all the .NET bloody Internet of Things. I'm flapping my arms around like,
It's getting worked up, folks. It's going to take off soon.
and they're great at that. But then, where do they learn the hardware skills? Where do they learn how to use an oscilloscope and measure?
Contextual electronics.
Get time in.
Do you actually have an answer for that? Like, I do actually have a whole... I would say the bulk of the stuff that we sell on Little Bird is to guys with a software background. So 60 to 70% software dudes. Yep. I know Arduino. I know Linux. I can do this stuff. And, I just want to make my weather sensors, tweet me and stuff like that.
Right.
And then the 30% are hardcore guys asking me, stuff that I can't even repeat because they know 1,000 times more than I So how would these software guys, get into the electronic side of things? Like, really become, I've been working in software for 5-10 years, but I want to become like a firmware engineer.
Okay, a 2-word answer. Build stuff.
Try it, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. You work on hobby projects.
But
you build stuff.
That's a tough question, though. No, it's a valid question. I mean, like...
it's to the point where they can get hired. Not just... I'm doing stuff in my
that's
shed.
the thing. You can, when you're in the industry, what you've done, what you can demonstrate you've done, that's what gets you hired. So if you can demonstrate that you've laid out your own boards and you can actually bring along the hardware to the interview and go, look, I designed and built this. It doesn't matter what your educational background is, doesn't matter who you are, they're going to hire you.
Yeah, that's not to plug my program again, but that's the idea. Is that that's the idea. It's like people ask, "Oh, are you going to give a certificate?" It's like, no, I'm not going to give a certificate. You're going to have one item on your portfolio, and then you build another one, and then you build another one, and by the time you get to 5 or 10, you have enough so that you get hired. And that's the whole point. Is that you got to get to the point of 5 or 10 so that, but by the time you get to 5 projects, you have enough solder burns on your hands for you to be legit, I think.
So where can we get
totally
this? Because I'm on chrisgamble.com and there's not a link.
You need to be on contextualelectronics.com.
Oh, there you go. It's on the slider thing. jQuery. Okay, contextualelectronics.com. I'm reading. I shouldn't be reading. I should be listening to you guys.
This is great, man. He's like plugging my program. He's asking stuff questions.
James,
next up, he's going to start shipping microcurrents for you. He's just going to come over.
We don't even need to be here.
Well, Marcus, you know what? We leave all of our business ventures in your capable hands, or more likely your wife's capable hands once you get sick of it.
That is more true than I care to admit.
Oh, that's good, man. It means you found a good one.
Yeah, she's good. I can't complain.
See something in you. That's the important part.
One last thing that we haven't really touched on, and I'd like to, is how do you make the call of whether or not, if you're a project, you've got this idea for your new Kickstarter project or whatever it is, widget, how do you decide whether or not to do everything yourself, sell it yourself, and keep all the profit, or shop it out to someone like SparkFront, someone like Adafruit, Seed Studios, or whoever who might give you, 15%, 10% of the thing instead of making 80% profit? How do you weigh it up?
Firstly, if you're making 15 to 20%,
I was going to focus on the 80. I don't know where the hell Dave's getting 80%, but
yeah, you need to be a better negotiator, Dave.
No, seriously, if you go to, Seed Studios, they've got all their terms and conditions there, even Adafruit do or something. We will take care of everything for you. We will manufacture it, we'll test it, we'll ship it, we'll do everything, and you get last time I looked, it was like a 10-15% cut.
I think the difference is the passive versus active, right? I think the 10 to 15, if I remember correctly, was projects are already out there that then as an afterthought, it was, let's push it to these manufacturers. Whereas Marcus is going to them directly. I'm ready to go.
It is like we already had a product, but the question that you need to ask yourself is, where is your value? Is your value in picking and packing orders? Probably not. Is your value in picking up a PCB, whacking a stencil on it, putting some solder down, and then picking and placing components on it? Probably not. No, there's lots of other people that can do it. But if your value is probably in designing, building community, that kind of thing, and you really shouldn't be doing this yourself, well, hard to say.
And I guess in the end it also comes down to marketability of your product. If it's on SparkFun or it's on Adafruit, then it gets that high visibility.
Okay,
people are going to buy it because people are clicking through that shopping cart. 1,000 people a day are going through there or something.
Okay, there is a website called Clicking Meth. I just gotta find it. And
you say meth or math?
Meth, like Breaking Bad style. And it is
really?
a stupid little text game. I'm not sure where it is, but Google Clicking Meth, and I'm sure you'll find it.
Clicking meth.
Clicking meth. And
this is great because now that he's asking questions, I'll be able to hang out on this site all the rest of the time.
Yeah. So basically, there's this submit button, and every time you click submit button on this form on this website, it's a game. You get a little bit more meth, which you can then sell to people. Virtually.
Is it clicking bad? Is that what it is?
Clicking bad. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Right, clicking bad. Right.
Yeah, here it is.
And so...
Yeah. Welcome to Clicking Bad, bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. Say my name.
Like Jesse says.
So you click cook, and you cook some meth, and then you click sell. And...
This is so dumb.
Yeah, it is.
I know,
love it.
totally.
And you can buy tweaks, online, with your virtual currency. It's all free. And,
Is there a point to this?
Yeah. And so you can pimp up your manufacturing, you can do various upgrades, you can launder your money, you get achievements and all that cool stuff. But the biggest thing that clicking meth has taught me is that distribution is everything. And
right, yes.
so
See, this is what happens when you steal Netflix from the States and then you learn about Breaking Bad and Clicking Bad and yeah.
do we have any legal ways we can watch this? I'm sure yeah. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, distribution is everything. Get up on a SparkFun or an Adafruit. I just went and trawled the distributors page, and it's insane how many distributors they have.
Yeah.
What does that prove, though? I don't understand what the number of distributors prove. I mean, I understand that that does help their business model, but
people can buy it locally in their own country.
People can buy it.
Do they?
Cheap.
As we're talking about, Marcus's Little Bird Electronics is
My
all the
house
fact that
is
you can
paid
buy it
for
locally.
the fact that people don't want to import stuff. That is how I pay my mortgage. And
Right. No, I don't disagree with that at all. What I'm saying is, what it ultimately comes down to is percentage of the business, though, coming from overseas versus the States, right? I mean, that's what I ultimately wonder, right? You could have 1,000 distributors in Afghanistan, but if no one's buying stuff there, who gives a crap?
So, how many percentage do you think a Kickstarter project? What percentage of a Kickstarter project backer group do you think are actually US people? Take a guess.
This is probably a trick question, isn't it?
Well,
I
know
know the answer, so I won't. I won't answer.
Let's ask the American.
60%.
30%. 35%.
Yep.
Sometimes.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly like my Amp Hour audience. Exactly like our Amp Hour audience. Exactly like my EEV blog audience.
No.
I would
People
not
think
have
it's the
picked
No, the
biggest.
amp hour is more than 35%. Do I have to go click over to our stats page?
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. But the point is that SparkFun, Adafruit, Pololu,
Yeah.
C Studio, all these guys have spent a very long time building up a distributor network. And if you're going to build product, hell, I want it on that distribution network.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
YouTube for you guys and iTunes for you. I don't know about you, but I think customer acquisition or subscriber acquisition would be pretty hard without distribution. So distribution is everything. That would be my 2 cents.
Well, if those numbers are true, I guess I didn't know those numbers, so that's pretty crazy. 30% of Kickstarters is that like across Kickstarter, or is that your Kickstarter?
I'm just saying that's my Kickstarter.
No, that's mine
experience.
as well. Everything.
Yeah, but both of you guys
all
are
the other
Aussies.
numbers
That's
I've
not
seen.
there's no control there, right? I mean, we'd have to get it.
Okay, but
across.
my Australian's only attributed for less than 5% of total sales.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's no control in that experiment. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I guess we
No,
can...
there is
give me
because
this
it's a
one, guys.
worldwide. No. Sorry.
What if Americans just don't like Aussies? Did you ever think of that?
Look,
Maybe it's not one-sided like you think it is. Maybe it's not where.
Sorry.
no,
You Americans are just overinflate your importance every time. I can tell
every
you.
damn time.
Yep.
All right, let me see here. I have one show
He's
stat.
right. It's only 30%.
So it's just insane. And you got to think, all these hardworking distributors, and I'm very biased here, putting out weekly emails and saying how good your products are for nothing.
That's true. Yeah, you can't buy that. I do agree with that.
So, I look at all the stuff
Well,
that
you can buy that, and you are. As a designer of a product, that's what you're buying. That's what you're giving up. A large percentage of your profit for. is the ability for just that. It doesn't come free. It's not magic. Trust me, if you sell it yourself, and you have the marketability behind it.
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess.
Yeah,
because I guess this happens in component distribution too, right? You have FAEs from different distributors, like the Avnets and the Arrows of the world. They're also going out and talking about products and there's also marketing reps and everything else. So yeah, I guess you're right about that. And they all get a slice. Mm-hmm. So the amp hour audience is 47% American.
47%.
10% UK, 5% Germany, 6% Canada, 8% Australia, 22% other. That's across all of our shows.
It's still less than half.
Still less than half, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't say that.
Oh, dear.
Less than half. No, it's all good.
That's great, though. So you're saying, though, that your product being manufactured through someone like SparkFun also gets it distributed through someone like SparkFun?
Yeah, but not just SparkFun, but also their 500 distributors who distribute for SparkFun.
Right.
And I ran the numbers. I looked at Seed Studio, I looked at Adafruit, and it's like, I really want SparkFun to distribute our product. I can say all this now that all the negotiations are finished, and they don't know how badly I was pining for them to sell our product. But
well, now it's just a measure of respect, right?
Yes,
they rock.
Yep. So there were other options for us, but they just, were not as good as I would say SparkFun is over time.
Well, that's cool, and that's probably why they're growing so much. Yeah.
If
people want to work with them like you do, and distributors want to work with them, that's a good sign.
Yes,
we like them too.
But they just are awesome, and they've gotten to a scale where they can just be more awesome. Like, it's insane what they do in terms of building up all the learning sites. And Adafruit's doing the same thing, like learn.adafruit.com and learn.sparkfun.com. It's just, they're employing like not just one person, but teams of people building free content. And
it's great.
It's great, and it's insanely great. Like, what sort of crazy world?
To quote Steve Jobs, yeah.
Rest in peace. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, they're getting themselves in such a good position that other companies cannot compete. So you got to think.
Or other companies are going to buy them.
Like, who would buy SparkFun?
Who would buy Nest?
Now, don't go there, Dave. Come on, man.
No, but look, it's very different. Nest is a consumer product. They've got a little bit of an Internet of Things platform play there going as well. And they basically bought Tony Fadell for $1 billion and the rest for whatever. And they got a whole heap of ex-Apple people. So, I can totally grok or understand the reason for buying Nest. But who would buy a SparkFun? And would SparkFun even sell? It's a private company owned by 99.999% by one guy.
Yep.
Right.
Which means all the more reason why they might sell.
Maybe.
Everyone has a price. No, seriously, if Google come along and said, I'll give you $1 billion.
Google would not buy SparkFun. That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying, right? But
I see what Marcus is getting at. It's not a business that
No,
I see what you're saying.
Like, would an Atmel buy them? And just say, bugger off all your TI chips, use Atmel, or would TI buy them? No, they seem to be going the other direction.
I think you'd be surprised.
I think well, this is interesting conjecjecture, but
speculation. But
I'm just saying there's reasons that we haven't even thought of yet, right? 3 or 4 years ago, would you have said Google would buy Nest? No, of course not. Or any of the other stupid acquisitions that are happening, right?
If we're in conjecture
the
land,
market's changing so quickly.
If we're in conjecture land, I would say that Adafruit would be the more interesting people to buy. Like, you got to think of their relationship with Google. Like, a lot of the Google examples for the ADK, the Android hardware development kit, is all done with Google stuff. The point that I was trying to make before I sidetracked myself is that these American companies are building out all this massive content, and I don't think like even the powers of like Seed Studio or DFRobot or Nightade can replicate that. Just because they've got that hindrance from a communications perspective.
So
Totally
that's like
agree.
you're saying that's a competitive advantage. Is there?
That's a huge
there-
competitive advantage.
Totally agree. Yeah, and it's
Yep,
a service to all. I
absolutely.
mean, it's a service to everyone, right? I mean, it's great. All those educational stuff. I mean, it's awesome.
You just got to look how these bastards are ranking in Google. They've got the lock-in already. Yeah. It would be so. I reckon it would be so hard to bootstrap from the get-go and try to compete with them.
I type microcurrent into Google, right? My microcurrent, I used to be number one, right? Because my content's been up there for like 5-6 years, right? Downloaded, 100,000 times my article or something. No, Artifruit just shot to number one, because they're a distributor for my microcurrent.
They've got the Google
it's crazy.
juice.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, I get microcurrent facelift when I don't
What?
spell it correctly. When I spell out micro, you get microcurrent facelift
right,
on.
No, you can't spell micro. You can't use the word micro like Marcus has.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Anyway.
I'm going to go watch that video after this.
Did you have to get
I wanna see
FDA
what it is.
approval for that?
So,
The lunchtime
any last
facelift.
questions, Chris? Because we are way over time. And we've been getting
No,
a lot
I'm
of
watching.
hate mail
I'm watching a
recently about
facelift right now.
going too far.
It's for all the subscribers that are doing those long commutes to work. We're thinking about
Right.
Right. Not everybody can work out of their extremely cluttered basement with tons and tons of SKUs of electronic products.
you. Hey, I used
Do you even live in your house anymore? That's what I want to know. Where do you sleep now?
I used to
Like, how
drive
does
to
that
the
work?
city every day, and there'd be an hour. We have tiny little bedrooms because the big bedrooms are used for storage.
Dude,
Yeah.
not even Australia can make that worthwhile. Come on, just get a cheap space. Go store stuff in Dave's space. He doesn't use half his space.
We're not in Cleveland. You have
That's
You
true.
can't buy a house for $1,000.
pretty
That's
much.
right,
You
yeah.
have no idea how crazy our real estate market is. It's just insane.
I know. It's insane. It is crazy.
Oh well, just start stacking upwards. I hear that'll help. Just throw a tarp over it.
You have no idea.
Oh, boy. Anyway, thank you very much, Marcus, for
No worries, guys.
Yeah.
joining us.
So people should go over to Kickstarter, and we'll link it in. But it's the microcurrent spelled out microview, not micro.
You don't want to buy that microcurrent thing. No, you want to go
No,
to
crap.
microview.io. and
Already
the
can't
way-
ship enough.
The microview website is microview.io. No, I can't even do it. microview.io for input output, and we'll be hopefully redirecting from there to our Kickstarter page. Just easier than a
Which
big long
should be
Kickstarter.
online anytime soon. We're staring at we're special.
I am
We're staring at a secret
clicking
version
my
of it.
Gmail refresh button like a lab rat on crack. It's
It's better than the clicking bad, right?
Yeah,
wow.
I love it. Well, I hope the campaign goes well for you. I'm sure you'll sell your 5,000. I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
cap your limit. And,
I'm sure you'll get bugged by lots of people over email.
Look,
Yep.
no doubt.
totally.
Well, thanks, guys.
luck.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, Marcus.
No worries.
See ya.
Catch you next time.